Stadium after Penn State lost to UCLA 42-37. Just wow. I didn't expect this. I did expect Penn State to struggle in some rounds, but struggles were I expected the offensive side. It happened on the defensive side. Gave up 400 plus yards, 269 yards on the ground. According to the UCLA player that ran past the median line, that's the most rushing yards they've had this season. I believe it. They've struggled on the ground. But what was your biggest takeaway? I'll let you have.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Penn State prepared its players enough for this game after coming off of last week's tough loss to Oregon. I mean, we've seen this in the James Franklin tenure before, where Penn State loses a big game and then kind of starts out slow against their opponent next week. And kind of happened 2 years ago, 2023, when they played Indiana after losing to Ohio State. I mean, it's usually they've been able to kind of maybe just manage a slow start, but then pull it out in the end. But it's this week, it's like they dug themselves too much of a hole and they just couldn't come out. I mean, it's kind of I'm surprised that Penn State wasn't necessarily expecting some sort of special onside kick that UCLA had in the first quarter there. I feel like that should have been expected by this coaching staff if they prepared their players enough, but it seems like they just weren't able to get it done.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, James Franklin did say after the game that they told the guys, they're going to try to pull out the stops and everything, but he didn't actually say that they knew that they were going to be a surprise onto the game, which I think is, as a coach, that is surprising. I think that when you know you're playing a team that is at their lowest, a team that is what's only for, hadn't led all season, hadn't scored in the first quarter all season, got rid of their offensive coordinator in the middle of the week, fired their second-year head coach earlier in the season. All of these things, as a special teams coordinator, and obviously hindsight is 2020, I wasn't saying this coordinator. As a special teams coordinator, this is the time where you pull out all the stops, catch Penn State with a surprise, which is what they did. Nico Iamaleava marched down the field, scored the touchdown, and they went with the onside kick. I mean, that you didn't have to be prepared for things like that, and it just didn't get better throughout the game. In these upset games, you kind of get those times where, okay, the favorite team is going to pull it together. You thought that was going to be when Devontae Ross, I think it was Devontae Ross, got called for pass interference. There were a few other moments in the game where it's okay, Penn State could turn the tide, the punt block, but it simply never happened. Penn State's in a situation where they're at 2 losses. They still have to go to Ohio State. They still have to go to Iowa. They still have to come back at home. You're playing Indiana team that's playing some good football right now, top 10. Indiana team right now will likely be a top 10 team there. I mean, what do you expect? What are you expecting? I mean, obviously it's right after you. What are you expecting out of Penn State in this stretch? I mean, they have to go to Northwestern next week. You can't underestimate that one. I mean, what do you think move forward by Penn State?
Yeah, I mean, I think always assuming they want to make the playoffs, I mean, it's basically must win for the here on out. I mean, if they went out, they're 10-2, they could make the playoffs, and obviously they would have good wins against Ohio State and Indiana, so there would probably actually be a lock if they went out. But it's at this point, if they can't beat UCLA, who was winless coming into today, if they can't beat them, is it really reasonable to think Penn State can do? So we'll see, but they've got a bunch of tough tests for the rest of the season.
Yeah, I mean, as we've said before, they struggled in the first 3 games. Obviously the end score was cool for Penn State, but they struggled. They didn't really do well against Villanova. They didn't do well against Nevada. They didn't do well against FIU. It showed against Oregon. It showed again this week. Dominique talked after the game about preparation. They didn't do well with preparation this week. What he didn't really say it, but he was saying it without saying it. So it'll be interesting to see going forward. Again, Penn State 2 losses. They will go back home to play Northwestern in the homecoming game. That will probably be a ruckus environment. We'll see what's up ahead for the Nittany Lions.